Friday, October 13th, and it is a good morning. It's a blessed morning. Look at these clouds behind me. That drone shot you saw in the intro sequence, I flew that about half hour, 45 minutes ago. It is 8 a.m. as I start this report, or this video, and that cloud is still pushing through us. It came over and we got socked in for 5 minutes, and it was the coolest thing. Now it's pushing through because the sun's come up, and so the neat thing about where we live is our ground gets illuminated with the first sun every morning, and it's a microclimate up here, and there's a lot of exposed rock, and I've done a lot of that in my landscaping, and it just makes it so there's never really frost. We get pockets of condensation that settle, but they don't freeze, and eventually we'll get a frost, and eventually we'll get winter. But it's a really neat thing about the place we live. Anyways, I could go on about that, just feeling so blessed to be where we are, and we're not in the madness of what's happening right now. And I kind of felt reluctant to make this video and talk about what I want to talk about today, but so many people come at me and just what the elephant in the room. There's a few elephants in the room in this one, but one of them is Jordan Peterson, or people are hilariously calling him Juden Peterstein. It's pretty funny. And all the people ask me, so I don't know, I guess I felt kind of compelled to make a video, a little walk and talk as I get into this part of my season. Things slow down for me a little bit, though they haven't, but there's just more time for reflection, especially when I get mornings like this. And we'll talk about some of these elephants in the room. So people always reach out to me. What do you think about Jordan Peterson and this and what he's saying? And it's terrible. It's terrible. And perhaps I could have seen it sooner with him. But to be honest, I'm so busy because I just crush every day on my homestead. I'm a working guy. I do manual labor, run heavy equipment, participate in some elements of the construction, do all the earthworks on my property, yada, yada, yada. I'm busy. I don't have time to stay up to date with, did you see the latest thing that so-and-so said? And so people sort of in the truth community make these ridiculous lines in the sand, which in a way just extend into limiting beliefs in some way or another. But it's like, if you don't think this and this, you're an idiot, you're a sellout, you're controlled opposition, or whatever it is. And it's retarded because everybody's on a journey, but everybody's timelines don't line up. So there was some people during the pandemic who saw it right away. Took me about a week to see it. And then some people took them 2 years or 2 shots to wake up. But they eventually woke up. So why do all these so-called truthers always do this thing where if you don't think so-and-so is this, or if you don't think this is this, or whatever it is, you're an idiot, you're a piece of shit. And it's insane. And I want to kind of show in this video, talk about a lot of things, but just how that in and of itself is a psyop. You've been psyoped when you sit there and hold everything on a person to account and just continuously focus hatred and negative energy towards that individual, which thus prevents you from crushing it in your own life and making important things happen. And that's actually the point. And I'm not saying that individuals who constantly do that are part of controlled opposition. I don't need to make dumb claims like that. Who cares? It's about you. But the New World Order, the system, always want to make you make it about something outside of yourself and outside of something that you can take responsibility or moral culpability for. And they externalize it. And you saw this in the Trump era. I don't really care to comment about the politics of it all, but what the mainstream media did was they created an effigy of, Trump derangement syndrome, orange man bad. Not defending Trump. I don't think there's any remedy coming from him. Let me put it to you that way. But you can see what the media did is often what a lot of so-called truthers do, is they create an effigy. And so for this comparison, we'll just use Trump. They created this orange man bad thing where everything he said was Hitler. I don't have to go through it all. You saw it you're still seeing it. And what that does is, number one, it gets people spending their time on social media or whatever else it is, going, hate you, hate you, hate you. If you don't see it this way, you're a loser, you're a sellout, you don't get it, you're an idiot, blah, blah, blah. And you're wasting time. You're literally producing nothing but nothing. And it's a nihilistic plot in many ways, is they want you to pursue nothing. It's like the celebration of pride. Pride is a sin, first of all, but to celebrate, whether it's your sexual orientation, gender identity, or whatever it is literally a celebration about nothing, because you did nothing for it. You just made a claim and showed up. There was no hard work. There were no life-changing decisions. There was no personal growth. There was no reflection on how you could be better or how you made a mistake. There's just, I show up with this. And it's literally the same thing as wasting time on social media talking about who is a sellout and who isn't, or whatever it is. You're externalizing your chi energy on something that's nothing. And if I were the devil, which I'm not, and I'm not a part of his plan, I would have people do that because it makes sense. If we have this God-given power of creation and energy and the ability to find abundance in everything, which is incredible to humans, despite the level of attack we're under, we still find ways to create infinite capacity for good. And the New World Order, whatever you want to call them, Anglo-American Zionist establishment, they want you, during a time of upheaval, revelation, and evolution, they want you spending your God-given energy in the pursuit of nothing. And that's the trick. And again, I'm not going to make the claim that anybody doing something like that is part of the establishment. I don't need to do that. Others feel that it's necessary to do that. But it doesn't bring anything for me at all. But that's what they want you doing and spending your time. And so I kind of wanted to address that. Wow, this view, you guys, is you're going to be blown away. I kind of wanted to address that. I spent 9 minutes on that so far as a pretext to where I'm going to go with this. But check this out, folks. This is where we live. Because, and I'm kind of, like I said, look at where I live. Look what I do. I show you what I do in my videos all the time. I don't make as many videos as I used to. But I walk the talk, okay? I show people how to do shit, and it's me doing it. And I've made myself a test subject for many years in the different pursuits that I've worked towards, and I've shared that with people. So people who question my intentions can go back and look at everything I've done for the last whatever. This isn't about me. I have nothing to hide. I have nothing to be ashamed of, Because I do feel that when somebody spends so much time saying, look at the man, look at the individual, look at this controlled opposition, look at them, that they're not asking you to do something that benefits you. They're asking you to do something that just perpetuates this cycle of hate. I mean, look at where we are. And I hate to use that term, I said it again, in such a cliche way. Oh, the hatred, fight the hate. It's like what social justice warriors tell you. But it's all just a bunch of BS. But it's also rooted in some truth. And people that just sit there and spend time online doing this, and people are asking you to do that. So go and troll so-and-so. Go and tell them they're a loser, or give a dialectic or a framework that your cult followers follow and throw that at them. You are an XYZ because so-and-so said so. Whatever the nonsense is of the day. But people that are asking you to do things like that are actually gaslighting you, because that is completely counterintuitive to what the creator, or if I can speak for the creator, I don't want to, I won't. But if I could speak for myself as a child of creation, that is something that is going to have no return for you. So generally in my life, I tried to focus, as a guy that's publicly known, as finding ways to help people accomplish great things. And my focus has obviously been on the land and anything to do with food production. Now, off grid and all that. But that's what I want you to do. I want you to find prosperity. I want you to become a better person and change things for the good and help people. That's what I want you to do. That's what I would ask. If you were going to do something that I told you to do, I would say, pursue your best self and only compare yourself to who you were yesterday. And don't bother listening to the noise. Listen to the signal. And the signal right now is that we are in a great upheaval in Revelation, and we can see it, especially with this last psyop being activated, and all of these people all of a sudden turn into NPCs. I wasn't surprised to see the left or the right take the stance you're supposed to have. But I honestly was a little surprised to see how many, call them so-called conservatives, who have been saying nothing but criticism and exposing woke ideology and madness, just jump on this bandwagon and this narrative of Hamas the boogeyman, right? And I think I'm going to get into that subject. I was a lefty for many years, and I've actually had the same stance. It's the only thing politically that I didn't change on in, say, my 20-year evolution of waking up to the big picture. It's the only thing I actually haven't changed my position on. Slight derailment on this. But yeah, in my lefty days, I was a staunch pro-Palestine guy. And I was watching, I kind of grew up with Noam Chomsky. I got into punk rock in the early 90s, and then was really influenced by Noam Chomsky, who was a thinker in that space, despite the amount of a failed and flawed man he is. Again, who cares? Just like everybody else. And I'm still going to talk about Jordan Peterson in this. But I was watching Noam Chomsky, or reading his books, listening to his audio books, his lectures. I was reading and watching Norman Finkelstein, leftists who are huge critiques of Israel and the absolute madness and atrocity that happens there. But I'm not going to get into that right now, because I don't want to divide anybody right now on this issue, because this issue is meant to divide. It's just like the pandemic. It's just like the war on Ukraine. It's just like woke madness. It's a polarizing issue that's meant to divide you, because the New World Order wants you spending time fighting with people that you probably mostly would be united with. People that might share 90% of your views and values. Now you anchor in this line in the sand for no reason, and it serves you nothing in your life. But again, that's the point. That's what they want you doing. And anyways, I was into that many years. I'd go to parties and get in debates and sometimes get kicked out. Not all liberals are one way or the other on the issue. There's a lot of liberals who are pro-Israel, a lot of liberals that are pro-Palestine, whatever it is, however you want to split it. Same with conservatives. However, with this little activation here, I've unfollowed probably 20 people on Twitter. I don't need to name them all. Who cares? It's irrelevant. But yeah, it's another. This is the next thing. This is the next pandemic. This is the next, flipping the script, get you onto the new thing. People didn't buy the pandemic. Then we have Ukraine. People aren't buying that. Now we have this. It's going to be constant, and there's going to be endless this or that. And when the Israel thing doesn't fly, they'll have another thing for you, right? The current thing. And who cares? Who gives a shit? Crush your life. Just get out there and crush it. I mean, I spend less time on a lot of these issues now than I used to because I'm too busy working outside in God's country with my hands, building my homestead for my family to make sure that my family, who is really it's my only tribe, really. I have sub-tribes, you could call it maybe. But sometimes associating with tribes doesn't actually help you. It just traps you into an ideology because it creates an element of peer pressure. And that's where a lot of these cults and these online kind of trolling groups and stuff, that's how they do that. They create this tribe mentality, and then whatever the king says, you have to immediately jump on board and do that thing. And it's New World Order shit. It's exactly what the cult does. It's exactly how they want you spending your time and accomplishing nothing at the same time. So the whole Israel-Palestine, don't really need to spend any more time on that issue. That's obviously what it is right now. It's just another thing to anchor and divide. One more point I'll make on that is you looked at, the timing was quite incredible. Take it for what it's worth. I'm not saying this is a correlation. I understand there's correlation is not causation. Roxy girl, come. Just want to make sure my dog's staying with me because we're outside of the fence. Is that you saw in the cities a lot of Muslims and Christians and probably some Jews in there too, I'm sure, coming together, that fundamentally what all those people were parents. It wasn't about whether they're Muslim or Christian or whatever. They're just parents that are going, yeah, it sucks that my kids are in public school. I can understand. My kids aren't in school, and so we've been able to build our lives to afford that luxury and do that. So I empathize with people who have kids in school and are kind of stuck in that system and that rat race. But you saw these people coming together, and we were really starting to see it in the UK, where there's really strong opinions on Israel, just like there's in the United States. And people were coming together, and so let's flip the script now. Now let's turn all those people that were coming together with this other group of people against each other, because Israel-Palestine is a wedge issue intentionally. And, one step forward, two steps back with all that. So that's what this is. And to Jordan Peterson, again, all these people always ask me, what do you think about it now? Because I've said good things about Jordan Peterson, because how could you not say good things about him? Forget his interview with Benjamin Netanyahu. That was when I really started paying more attention to it. To be honest, I don't have time to pay attention to what everybody's saying all the time. So people always say, what about this? What about that? It's like, dude, I'm fucking busy crushing. Like, I don't have time to stay up to date with every presence on social media. But anyways, to Peterson, was a big supporter of him. Said a lot of good things about him in the past, because his work legitimately helped me in many ways. Both of his books, I read both of his, Maps of Meaning, I read parts. It's a pretty ridiculous book. But 12 Rules for Life, read and really, helped me in a lot of ways. I would say it's all obvious stuff, right? And that's some of Peterson's biggest critics say, oh, clean your room. How cliche is that? But it's true. But truth doesn't really always come from things that are just so profound that you've never heard them before. Truth comes from iteration through nuance and experience. And so, yeah, clean your room. Okay. How yeah, no shit. But it's like, well, first of all, do you actually clean your room? I fail at it all the time. Fortunately, I have a wife who does a lot of things like that and is in the home that I'm blessed that way. But do you clean your room in other ways? How is your life in your mind? And how does that baggage that you carry go into your experiences today? And whatever, I'm not going to sit here and chirp Peterson's horn more. He's done. He's done. But that doesn't mean that everything he said before was terrible. Just like how Wagner is a great composer. And Wagner, oh, you can't be against the Nazis and listen to Wagner. It's like, shut up. Don't say retarded shit. Wagner's a great composer, period. Whether he supported the Nazis or whatever, who cares? It's the same with Peterson and all these people. The thing is what I can observe at least, and you tell me what you think, is that the reason people care so much about the latest thing with Peterson is that the sad reality is, and the tragedy of it all, is that Peterson spoke a lot of truth to a lot of young men that didn't have a positive male role model in their life. And he really spoke to them. And he trapped them. And I honestly don't think, but again, it doesn't matter. Who cares what I think about it? But I don't think that Peterson started off all that way. I think he started with good intentions, like most politicians and probably most people, and was brought into a system and shown some things and made an offer. And he took the offer. And I think that probably started to happen around when he was working with, what's it called, that big LA management company, Creative Artists. If you Google creative artists, I haven't done it recently, but if you Google creative artists and their address on the Google Earth image, you'll see an Eye of Horus on the building. It's quite crazy. But anyways, I had my inklings about Peterson back then. And but again, too busy to really care, because I do have more important things to do. And so, whatever. And then not paying attention for many years and maybe seeing the odd podcast here and there. But I'd listen to most of my stuff with Peterson in the early days. I was listening to him before he kind of went mainstream. And when the Kathy Newman thing happened, I was in it for a little while, but then I just got busy. And I got other things to do. Yeah, I think for him it probably started to change around there. And then he gets with the Daily Wire, which is a complete, neocon Zionist organization. Doesn't mean all of their content is that way, because it's not. Matt Walsh's What is a Woman is great. I don't care what you say about Matt Walsh and his individual, look at the man, look at the man, look at the man. I don't care. The content's good. And at the end of the day, you need to have that attitude. And so going back to my point, I kind of got derailed there. The reason people care so much about what's happening to Jordan Peterson, what's happening to Glenn Beck, what's happening to Rebel News or whatever, who cares, is that you're asking, what about them? And the question is why? I think, I'll propose, again, you tell me, that it's because Western culture has an obsession with celebrity. We have an obsession with watching people. And I'm a content creator and I've experienced, I guess, what I'm trying to tell you. And so take it for what it's worth. But people get an obsession about celebrity, and it's a psyop. And it's always been a psyop. The obsession with the royal family or whatever. It's no different if you're obsessed with Jordan Peterson or you're obsessed with, I don't know, Miley Cyrus or whatever random celebrity. I don't even pay attention to celebrities, but take your pick. It's pathetic. But this obsession with that comes from that. And I'm not trying to use that as a term to degrade individuals that buy into it. I've bought into it in the past. But that's what I think. You tell me what you think. And with that, who cares? It is what it is. People change. So you thought Jordan Peterson was great all up until the point where he tweeted, "Give him hell, BB," which, so what if you woke up at that point? Who cares? We should be welcoming people for waking up. This fear of needing to draw a line in the sand on this wedge issue is a psyop. You are being psyoped. It's so obvious. Wake the fuck up. Sorry to swear. But that's what I think it is. And it's so lame to just engage in this. You said this. It's like, yeah, people change. I know a guy who once said he stuck his finger up his bum when he pleasured himself, and came around and later said that was a dumb thing to say. Great. You said one time, Jordan Peterson, this and this and this. Okay, things change. Welcome. Who cares? But it is funny. And like I said at the start of this video, with what I showed you with where I live, we're going to walk into the view again here. I'm up on this primary ridge that's kind of on the back 40 of our property. Is that I wake up every morning with gratitude. And just, when my kids wake up, they always wake up in the same order. And my wife wakes up first. I'm usually up next. And then the other two come as they do. But I wake up just going, how lucky am I to live in a beautiful place like this? But you know what? It's not luck. It's complete intention. None of it was easy. People, I see it in the comments, because I hate to make this about me again, but I don't know, maybe it'll help me make a point that you can relate to, is that I started with really nothing. I started my business of Green City Acres on $7,000. I had no money from my parents. I still had about $25,000 of student debt at that point, and had to work for everything. I put myself through college. I never had anything. My parents were kind of lower middle class, but I started with very little, and have come to a point where I live on this gorgeous property in heaven, and there's a super low population density here. I don't have to worry about this insane migrant crisis that's happening. I've positioned myself geographically out of that. We're at high elevation, yada yada yada. I'll save those kinds of things for another video about those subjects, but I've made the decision to come here. It's not luck. It's complete creative intention. And that's what is required when you want to achieve great things. And you tell me what those great things are for you, because they might not be the things for me, and that's okay. Who cares? Row your boat. Do your thing. Focus on your family. Focus on your life. Focus on achieving prosperity when so many are about to have to take all of their prosperity from them. Don't be a victim. Take control of your life and make it happen, because that's what's required. I see people in my comment sections, haters, who don't understand the full context of where I started. They're just seeing a new video that they hadn't seen before. They don't know that I started my farm with a bike on $7,000 to get to where I am today. They just see, oh, a rich guy with a really sweet off-grid system. Oh, how much does that cost, loser? It's just retarded. But that is the limiting belief. And that is a program. You have been psyoped, my friend. Because limiting beliefs, for you to say, look at what he has, compare it to yourself in that moment, is a great mistake. Because you should only compare yourself to who you were yesterday. You point at me, and I'm on a totally different timeline from you. It doesn't mean I'm ahead of you or anything. It's just I'm on a different timeline. We exist in a multitude of ways in our existence, and time is one that we can sort of observe. Whether you can prove it or not, that's perhaps a great philosophical question. But to measure yourself in this dimension that is actually below you, as a child of God, you transcend time. Our spirits, our souls transcend time. And so you're that spirit having this human experience. To sit there and compare yourself to others in any way is a complete exercise in futility. Again, it's what the New World Order wants you to do. They want you to spend nothing but time on nothing, right? That's the game. And so the New World, this establishment now with the development of AI and all this is so penetrated. And I think it's really the only way they're going to try to pull off this next psyop, is that it just be AI running the comment sections. And you'll see all these opinions. Oh, look at these burnt babies. That was a generated AI image. Proven. All this nonsense is going to have to just be with AI. But when you look at what ChatGPT could do a year ago or more, it can write a 13th chapter to Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules for Life in seconds, and write another book like that 1 million times over, 100 million times over. Can't you imagine that AI and these bots could have penetrated and stolen all of our identities and we wouldn't even know? And it could be doing it in multiverses, right? It could be running that same script for any individual and just basically take over your online reality and convince you that something is, real when it's completely not. And I mean, you could take that as a parable and expand it in a macro way and talk about that in life. And perhaps your life are just these layers of ego that remove you from your spirit. And then they end up at some matrix. But yeah, I think that's really what I wanted to say. I'll do a live stream again soon. Probably do it in the evening, because I'm trying to improve something within myself, is that if I'm going to do this kind of thing, and I know this thing has value to a lot of people, and I'm gracious of that. But at the same time, it also takes a lot from my family, and sitting in front of a computer all day, or hours of a day live streaming, when I could be either working on the homestead or spending time with my family, and this doesn't make me money. So, I don't have to do this. My company sells products. We sell products that help you get on the land and crush it on the land. And so I don't have to do this. I do this because, actually, tell you one thing that ties into this. I read The Birthday Book. Have you ever read that book and looked at your birthday in it? Holy shit. September 25th is my birthday, if you want to go read it. But it summarizes me in so many ways. And I looked at that with my wife not too long ago and said, all these things that it says about me that are terrible, I'm going to try to change. And so one of those things is to do less content, especially live streaming and things like that, because, and to my point, if I'm going to do them, so there's always a compromise, right? If I'm going to do them, I'm going to do them when my kids are sleeping and my family's sleeping, because we go to bed a lot earlier in the winter, and we're already going to bed at like 7 o'clock. So I could do a live stream, because I generally just need less sleep than my family. And so I could do a live stream in the evening, and I know that's not going to work out for people on the East Coast in some time zones, and forgive me, but that's my context. So that's how we'll do it. I'll do a stream soon, because I do enjoy them. But I recognize that sitting in front of a computer all day, talking to a computer, is a weird thing for your kids and your family to see, especially my children, because they're pretty young. And so they can't really understand it. They just, what's dad doing? Whereas when I'm out in the homestead working with my hands, my kids get it. Especially my boy. He's like, yeah, dad. It's like the best. And he wants to be in the machines, and he knows all the tools. And it's like my daughter knows every single plant. Okay? My daughter knows every single plant in our environment. We read them this book called The Herb Fairies too, and we also have this card game called The Herb Garden, I think. And our kids can't fully read, but there's pictures of herbs on there. My daughter can identify every single herb on there, and I wouldn't be able to, I'm telling you. But my boy can also observe all these things in the tactile world of, tools and machines and stuff like that. It's blessed. And so, to my point, my children understand my life when I'm working with my hands, and they can see me build things and do things. Like yesterday, I did this terrace on the east side of our house because it was this gaping area that needed to be closed up. And anyways, I worked on that all day, and I show my family, and they go, wow, they see it. And so, but again, I kind of acknowledge my position is that I've actually had to, I'm not a millionaire. I probably am maybe close to a millionaire as far as my assets, but I don't have $1 million in the bank. If you got $1 million in the bank, I'd say you're retarded. But I've done okay for myself. I've done fairly well, call it. I've had to work to do there so that I could be an agrarian. So I had to, I'll just use the term because I can't think of anything else. I had to become a millionaire so that I could live as an agrarian. And not everybody has to do that. It was just the path that I chose to do it because I wanted to kind of set myself up where basically the lights could go out tomorrow. And I'm proud to say that we're officially there. Yeah, it would suck if the lights went out everywhere tomorrow, but we would do fine. Things wouldn't be perfect. I'm hoping to make them perfect or as close to perfect as possible. But a lot of people, especially in different places, like, because we do these Homestead calls and we run this Homestead Accelerator program, we look at properties all over and on a weekly basis. And the properties in the United States, especially in the Southeast in general, are insane value. It's just absolutely insane. So somebody there doesn't necessarily have to do what I did because Canada's a tough economy. It's hard to make money here. All the money I make is in the United States. And so my context, again, is different than what it might be for you. There's so many people. I mean, I know guys who live on a, $50,000 to $80,000 salary in the U.S. and live somewhere in the Southeast, support a family. It's way easier to achieve the American dream in some parts of America than Canada, especially. But it's possible anywhere. It's just different context, different situations, and things that you have, resources you have. I always go back to the 8 forms of capital. Look at the 8 forms of capital. I'm not going to go through all them all because then it'll make this video so much longer. I've done videos on it. And look at those things and sort of do an evaluation of what you have for resources, because financial capital is only one of those things. Yes, financial capital can lead to other things. Roxy, come. And there's so many bears out right now. I need to have her with me. That's why we have a big fence around our property. It's bear season right now. Look at what you have, evaluate that, and then address the weakest links first. That's simple. That principle applies when you're doing broadacre permaculture design to when you're growing your family, to when you're running your business, is that you address the weakest links first, then you build from there, because the weakest links are usually costing you something. They're taking something away from you in any of those 8 forms of capital. And so if you address those weakest links first, then you get to a place where now you can operate a little bit more freely because you're not constantly being pulled away to go and fix the thing, whatever that is, right? It could be something in your personality. It could be something in your family, whatever, any 8 form of capital. Then you can go from there. You can actually start to move around and focus on bigger projects and bigger ideas and bigger things. It's almost, it's kind of the cliche of the rat race in the money system, right? The money system is the matrix, but if you learn the matrix, you can operate a lot better in it, and you can make more decisions and achieve a better form of sovereignty or freedom in that. Woohoo! I'm almost taking some bales here. It's getting out of the rat race. And so I got out of the rat race about 2017. A year after my book came out, I kind of officially got out of the rat race because I had enough passive income coming from my book, the first online course I built and whatnot. And then that allowed me to start a family and do just make decisions. Oh, I want to do this. I can pursue that. And again, the New World Order doesn't want you to do that, right? They want you to be stuck in the rat race. They want you to be pinched, just getting by. Ultimately, they want you to take the universal basic income that's going to be offered at some point, once they demoralize us to a point that maybe for most there's no return. But that's what they want. And so when you want to achieve great things, whatever they are, do an analysis of your inventory in the 8 forms of capital. Focus on the weakest links first. Fix those weak links. Then get to a place where you can start some bigger projects. Now, this is where you have to take a gamble on, do I want to go in this direction or do I want to go in this direction? And your intuition will guide you there, and you'll make mistakes. And then you'll take that information and come back and then make a better decision on the next one and then have a better go at that. But getting out of the rat race and fixing the problems that inhibit you, kind of like Peterson's cliche, clean your room, that'll allow you to move and scale. And then and I promise you, it's a path to abundance the whole time. The only thing is you have to get past that first step. You have to take the first step, which is the major decision to go, I'm going to do this, whatever it is. And so that's what you got to do. So I hope people, through this new psyop that we're in right now, will choose to not worry about the latest thing that the psyop is telling you to jump on board and create a wedge in your life, is to pursue truth, pursue your path, produce and sharing the abundance of that journey the whole way. And none of this is scripted. I'm just kind of coming up with this on the fly and saying what I feel, but pursue those things. And actually, no, we're going to cut through here and finish at the pond. Pursue those things, and you will glide through this. Because I'll tell you what, I know a lot of people, and I know a lot of real people too, a lot of working class people. I have guys that work with me, and I know, little bits about their lives, and a lot of people right now, despite what the social media and AI and the mainstream media want to tell you, a lot of people are experiencing abundance right now. And the people that I see doing that are people that aren't worried about the latest current thing. They're focused on creating prosperity for themselves, because that path is there available to you when you decide to make that decision. When you decide to troll online and exercise futility, then you are taking a step away from that path. Look at this, the fog's coming through in the pond here. Pond is coming along nice. I'm going to start pumping it right now. Turn this on, start filling it. I need to have solar electricity in order to do that, and I got to go turn the well on. But I'm going to pump some water in here today, get this to a point where we can, maybe I'll fill it up a little more than half, and we'll have a skating rink for winter. That'll be fun. I'm stoked to kind of see if my boy's interested in hockey. I've never been interested in hockey, but something about having a skating rink and some kids that might want to play it makes it all the more appealing. So anyways, folks, I hope you guys are having a blessed day, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching, folks. If you want to learn any more about the products and services that we offer, head over to freedomfarmers.com. We can teach you how to get on the land and everything else from there.